Welcome back to Waters Iron Works. Today we're going to take a look at my coal forge. You guys haven't seen this in a ton of the videos, but I've been using it for about 5 or 6 years now, and it's been pretty good for me. I think everybody's kind of interested if you're a new blacksmith and, hey, what does it take to have a forge? This one is pretty simple. It's nice, it's portable. So let's take a look at the different parts of it, and then we'll break open the blower and show you what that looks like on the inside as well. Fire pot is obviously critical. This is made out of just real thin steel, less than 1/8 of an inch or something there. Holds up well. I can get this thing up to forge welding temperatures and have no problems with it. It's got a lot of surface area, so that forge welding heat, right, it's going to be up in the coal, it's going to be up a little bit. It's got air coming up from the bottom, and then all of this can dissipate heat out into the environment, and so that keeps it from overheating and melting, even though I've got that forge welding temperature right here that'll certainly melt through steel. You will notice that it started rusting a little bit on the inside. This damage I don't think is from forge welding. I've had this about 6 years. It's been in great shape. I left it out at Pioneer Farms where it was getting some rain coming in on it, and we're starting to see some rust, so I may have to come in and try and clean that up. Looking in the middle of the fire pot, a lot of forges will have a clinker breaker. If they don't have a clinker breaker, the next thing they're going to have is something like this, which is just an ash grate. This works. It is easy, it is simple. There's no moving parts or anything you've got to worry about, but it makes your fire a little harder to keep. So if you've got a clinker breaker or an ash dump, something that you can kind of swivel, and ash will fall through here, but no clinker breaker means that it tends to pile up clinker and ash and things right here in the middle of the forge while I'm doing my work. And so it is important with this fire pot that you come in regularly and you pull that stuff out. If you're a new blacksmith, that can be a bit of a challenge learning how to work this, especially since this is a relatively small, relatively shallow fire pot. You can do everything that you need here, a little harder than if you've got something that is bigger. But again, I drag this thing around with me all over the place. I put it in the back of my car. The fact that the legs unbolt and come off makes it super, super convenient to drag this around. It does have a tweer with an ash dump right there, so ash that does fall through, you can slide this aside and close it back up. This is actually one that I made because the original one eventually did break on me. I think this thing is probably 1930s, so it has seen somewhat better days. There used to be a hood that went with it as well, but that eventually rusted through. As far as the blower goes, works great, although a little noisy. The fan does tend to vibrate back and forth a little bit and rattles into the fan cage. So it's not the quietest, but you get great airflow with it. And this is a super simple design when it comes to blowers. Let me pull this off and we'll show you guys what it looks like. So the blower cage is held together with some screws and bolts here, or screws and nuts. If we take that off, we get access to the fan. Very simple here. There's a small set screw that ties the fan into this, which is hooked into the gears and eventually to the crank in the back here. If you see that your fan is slipping when you've got one of these blowers, it will probably have a set screw as well, and you just need to tighten it down. You do have a little bit of control over how far out or in you set that. I've adjusted a lot trying to get this thing quieter, and I've never found a way to get it any quieter than it is right now. So we're going to leave that on. We're going to flip this around and pull this case off, and you can see again 3 screws here. There we go. And that's as simple as the inside of this gearbox. So we can see we've got the crank here. We turn that, that's going to spin the gear. That is attached to this gear here, which in turn turns this little gear, and this is the bar that the fan is attached to. So you get a little bit of improvements in mechanical force with the gears in there, and dead simple design. Really nothing complicated about this. If you've got a hand crank blower like this, you do need some lubrication in there. What type of lubrication you're going to need is going to depend on how this was designed. So this one, it's an entirely enclosed system. And so what I've used in this is actually marine grease like you would use for a boat. I don't need a bunch of oil or anything like that. I just need something to keep it running smoothly, and it's not going to be getting a lot of dust or contamination or anything in there. So a little bit of marine grease and this thing runs very easily. And let's take a look actually at this Champion blower that I need to get up and running. Right here, we've got a little spot for oil. So when we're repairing something like this and getting it working again, what we're going to want to do is make sure that we're putting oil in here on a regular basis, just to make sure that it keeps running smoothly. Marine grease or something like that is not what I would use in this. I would use some sort of motor oil, light motor oil, and they work pretty well. And you guys will see me start using this in more videos soon. We're going to start doing some forge welding and things like that. Unfortunately, my propane forge does not get up to forge welding temperatures with the level of insulation that it has in it right now. So for any forge welding that we're going to be doing in the immediate future, it'll be in this coal forge. Let me know if you guys have any questions about coal forges. Happy to answer what I know. Between this one and the ones out at Pioneer Farms, there's a lot of different blower types that I've got some experience with, and I'd be happy to share what I know if anybody's interested. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon.